dead of night, they came, armed, ruthless, unforgiving. Dozens of bandits descended on a sleeping community in northwest Nigeria, shattering not just homes and lives, but something far more fragile: hope. Hope that peace was possible. Hope that dialogue could end the bloodshed. Hope that communities could finally live without fear. But on this night, that hope died alongside innocent men, women, and children. And now, an entire region is asking the question that no one wants to answer. If peace deals can't protect us, what will? This is the story of how one deadly attack is unraveling years of negotiations, and what it means for millions of Nigerians caught in the crossfire. Tonight, we're investigating a crisis that's threatening to plunge Nigeria's northwest region back into chaos. A brutal bandit attack that has left dozens dead and hundreds displaced, but more importantly has exposed the fatal flaws in local peace agreements that were supposed to end the violence. For months, community leaders, traditional rulers, and state governments have been negotiating with armed groups, offering amnesty, money, and concessions in exchange for peace. Some communities saw gun violence drop, schools reopened, farmers returned to their fields. But this attack changes everything. And it raises a critical question. Can you negotiate with criminals who have no intention of keeping their word? The attack happened in the early hours of Tuesday morning in Zamfara State, one of the states hardest hit by banditry in recent years. According to survivors and local security sources, more than 100 heavily armed bandits on motorcycles stormed several villages in Anka local government area. They moved systematically, house to house, executing residents, looting property, and burning homes to the ground. By the time the sun rose, at least 36 people were confirmed dead. Dozens more were injured. And over 300 residents had fled into the bush, leaving behind everything they owned. Among the dead were children, elderly men and women, farmers who had just begun to rebuild their lives after previous attacks. But here's what makes this attack particularly devastating. This community had a peace deal. Just 6 months ago, local leaders sat down with the bandit groups terrorizing the area. They negotiated. They made concessions. They paid what some are calling protection money to ensure safety. Then the bandits promised to stop attacking. They promised to release kidnapped victims. They promised to allow farmers to work their land without fear. For a few months, it seemed to work. The attacks slowed. Life began to return to something resembling normal. But on Tuesday night, those promises turned to ash. This isn't an isolated incident. Across Nigeria's northwest and north-central regions, similar stories are playing out. In Kaduna State, communities that signed peace agreements are reporting renewed attacks. In Niger State, bandits who accepted amnesty and claimed to have surrendered weapons are back in the forests, terrorizing villages. In Katsina State, groups that promised to stop kidnapping for ransom are more active than ever. The pattern is clear. Peace deals are being used as a tactical pause by bandit groups, a chance to regroup, rearm, and plan their next attack. And communities are paying the price. Dr. Abubakar Ibrahim, a security analyst based in Kaduna, puts it bluntly. These criminals are not interested in peace. They're interested in profit. And right now, pretending to negotiate gives them cover, time, and in many cases, money. Then, when they're ready, they strike again. The numbers support this. Despite numerous peace agreements signed in 2024, banditry-related deaths in the Northwest increased by 23% compared to 2023. Kidnappings are up. Displacement is up. Food insecurity, because farmers can't access their land, is reaching crisis levels. And yet, state governments continue to pursue these deals. Why? The answer is complicated and controversial. First, there's the reality of limited military capacity. Nigeria's security forces are stretched thin, fighting Boko Haram in the northeast, combating separatist groups in the southeast, and dealing with oil theft in the south. The military simply doesn't have the resources to simultaneously wage war on dozens of bandit groups across the northwest. Second, There's political pressure. State governors are desperate to show results. Peace deals, even temporary, fragile ones, allow them to claim they're addressing the crisis. It's easier to announce a peace agreement than to explain why violence continues despite military operations. Third, there's the humanitarian calculation. Every day of peace, even false peace, means farmers can plant crops, children can go to school, markets can open. For communities exhausted by years of violence, even a temporary reprieve feels like victory. But Tuesday's attack exposes the fatal flaw in this logic. You cannot build lasting peace on a foundation of lies, and you cannot protect communities by rewarding the very criminals terrorizing them. Beyond the statistics and strategy debates, there are human beings whose lives have been shattered. Hawa Abdullahi lost her husband and 2 sons in Tuesday's attack. Speaking from a displacement camp, she told reporters, "They came to our house. They killed my family in front of me. The same men who promised peace 6 months ago. The same men our leaders gave money to. They took everything. And now, they've taken my family." Her story is not unique. Across the affected villages, survivors are struggling with trauma, loss, and a profound sense of betrayal. Not just by the bandits, but by the leaders who assured them that peace was possible. "We trusted our elders," said one village chief who asked not to be named. "They said if we cooperated, if we paid, if we gave them what they wanted, we would be safe. Now our people are dead, our homes are destroyed, and the bandits are still out there. Who do we trust now?" This erosion of trust may be the most dangerous consequence of failed peace deals. When communities lose faith in both the criminals and the authorities trying to negotiate with them, chaos fills the vacuum. So, what's the solution? Security experts agree that Nigeria needs a comprehensive strategy that goes beyond both military force and appeasement. This means, first, accountability. Peace deals cannot be a get-out-of-jail-free card. Bandits who commit atrocities must face justice. Without accountability, these agreements are simply negotiated surrenders where communities give up everything and get nothing in return. Second, community security. Local communities need the resources and legal framework to defend themselves. This means supporting community policing initiatives, providing training, and ensuring that law-abiding citizens aren't left defenseless while negotiations drag on. Third, addressing root causes. Banditry thrives on poverty, unemployment, and lack of opportunity. Long-term peace requires economic development, job creation, and education, particularly in rural areas where young men see crime as their only option. Fourth, regional cooperation. Bandits operate across state lines. Peace deals in one state often just push the problem to another. Governors need to coordinate, share intelligence, and present a united front rather than competing to cut individual deals. Fifth, honest communication. Leaders must stop selling false hope. Communities deserve the truth about what peace deals can and cannot achieve. They deserve transparency about what concessions are being made and what guarantees, if any, exist. This crisis demands action from all of us. To Nigerian citizens, stay informed. Hold your leaders accountable. Demand transparency about peace negotiations in your communities. Support displaced families. And most importantly, don't let this become normalized. Every attack, every death, every broken promise should outrage us. To community and traditional leaders, stop prioritizing short-term political wins over long-term security. If peace deals aren't working, admit it. Work with security agencies. Invest in real solutions. And not temporary fixes that cost lives. To state and federal governments, banditry is not a state problem, it's a national crisis. It requires national resources, national strategy, and national political will. Stop treating it like a regional issue that can be managed through local deals. To the international community, Nigeria needs support. Intelligence sharing, training, equipment. This crisis is creating humanitarian disasters and threatening regional stability. The world cannot afford to ignore it. Tuesday's attack in Zamfara State is more than a tragedy. It's a warning. It tells us that peace without justice is not peace. It's a pause before the next attack. It tells us that negotiations without consequences are not diplomacy. They are surrender. And it tells us that hope, when built on lies, is the cruelest deception of all. 36 people died believing they were safe. Hundreds more are now displaced, wondering if they'll ever be able to go home. And millions across Nigeria's northwest are watching, waiting, and asking themselves, are we next? The answer to that question depends on what happens now, on whether Nigeria's leaders find the courage to admit that current strategies aren't working, on whether communities demand real protection, not empty promises, on whether we, as a nation, decide that Nigerian lives are worth more than political convenience. Hawa Abdullahi, the woman who lost her family, said something that should haunt us all. They promised us peace. They gave us death. Nigeria cannot afford any more broken promises. Thank you for watching, and thank you for caring enough to stay informed.